The quantum sensors at CERN's Deep Space Observatory weren't supposed to detect anything interesting that night. Dr. Elena Martinez had designed them to study quantum entanglement patterns in deep space, hoping to better understand the fundamental nature of the universe. She never expected them to catch what appeared to be a deliberately encoded message. The first sign something was different came at 3:47 a.m. Geneva time. Elena was reviewing the day's data streams when an anomaly caught her attention. The quantum fluctuations from a distant star system weren't random. They showed distinct patterns that resembled complex mathematical equations. "Computer, analyze pattern sequence," Elena commanded, her dark eyes fixed on the scrolling data. The AI took less than a second to respond. Pattern analysis indicates a 99.99% probability of artificial origin. Mathematical sequences appear to be prime number based with embedded geometric progressions. Elena's heart raced. After 15 years of searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, they'd found something. But this wasn't a simple radio signal or light pattern. This was quantum communication, something humanity had only theorized about. "Send alert to Director Chen and begin full spectrum analysis," she ordered, already reaching for her phone to call her research partner, Dr. James Wong. They'd worked together for years developing these sensors, and he needed to see this. Within an hour, the observatory's main control room was filled with bleary-eyed scientists and technicians. The quantum signal continued streaming in, growing stronger with each passing minute. Director Chen stood behind Elena's chair, watching as she worked to decode the complex patterns. "It's definitely a message," Elena explained, pointing to recurring sequences in the data. "These patterns, they're not just mathematical concepts. They're instructions." "Instructions for what?" Chen asked, his usually composed face showing rare concern. "I think." Elena paused, double-checking her calculations. "I think they're instructions for building something. Something massive." The signal contained detailed quantum-level blueprints for what appeared to be an enormous defensive system, one that encompassed entire planets. As Elena and her team worked to decode more of the message, they discovered it wasn't just technical data. Embedded within the quantum patterns was a warning. They worked through the night, and as dawn broke over the Swiss Alps, Elena finally decoded enough to understand the gravity of their situation. She stood before the assembled team, her hands trembling slightly as she projected the translated message. "The signal is from something that calls itself the Sentinel," she explained. "It's an ancient AI defense system created by a species that vanished millions of years ago. It's been waiting, dormant, for a civilization capable of detecting and decoding its quantum message." The room was silent as Elena continued. "The Sentinel was created to warn about something its creators called the Devourers, a cosmic swarm that consumes entire galaxies. According to these calculations, they're headed toward our galaxy, toward Earth." Director Chen stepped forward. "How long do we have?" Elena's voice was steady despite the weight of her words. "The swarm's advanced scouts will reach our solar system in less than 6 months. The main force follows a year behind them." The implications were staggering. Humanity had barely begun to explore their own solar system, and now they faced a threat that had apparently wiped out a civilization far more advanced than their own. But as Elena studied the quantum blueprints, she noticed something extraordinary. "There's something else," she said, highlighting a section of the data. "The defense system the Sentinel describes, it's not just technology. It's designed to interface directly with consciousness, to be controlled by thought. The Sentinel's creators believed this was the key to defeating the swarm. And this is why it contacted us," Dr. Wong asked, peering at the complex equations. Elena nodded. "Our quantum sensors weren't just detecting the signal, they were detecting us. The Sentinel was searching for a species that had developed both quantum technology and the right type of consciousness to operate its defenses. Somehow, we fit its criteria." Director Chen was already on his secure phone, connecting to military and government leaders worldwide. Within hours, the UN Security Council would be in emergency session. But Elena barely noticed the activity around her as she continued studying the quantum patterns. There was something elegant about them, something that resonated with her understanding of the universe in a way she couldn't quite explain. As the sun rose higher over the Alps, Elena made another discovery that sent chills down her spine. The quantum blueprints weren't just instructions for building a defense system. They were a key to unlocking humanity's next evolutionary step. The ancient civilization had left humanity the tools to defend itself, but using them would change them forever. "Director," she called out, her voice cutting through the chaos of the control room. "We need to establish Project Aurora immediately. We have less than 6 months to master technology it took another species millennia to develop." Chen looked at her, understanding the weight of the moment. "What do you need?" "Everything," Elena replied. "And everyone. This isn't just about building weapons. It's about evolving humanity itself. The Sentinel chose us for a reason, and we need to figure out why before the swarm arrives." As emergency protocols activated worldwide and humanity began to mobilize, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that this was more than just first contact or an approaching threat. The quantum patterns pulsing through her sensors seemed to whisper of destiny, of a moment her species had been unconsciously preparing for throughout its entire existence. The signal continued its steady stream of data, and with each decoded pattern, the true scale of both the threat and the opportunity became clearer. Humanity stood on the brink of either extinction or transformation. Their next steps would determine not just their own fate, but perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy. Elena looked at the complex quantum equations floating before her and felt a strange sense of recognition, as if some part of her had always known this moment would come. The real question wasn't whether humanity could master the ancient technology in time. It was whether they were ready for what they would become in the process. Project Aurora transformed the Nevada desert into humanity's last hope. Massive quantum computer arrays stretched across the landscape, their crystalline structures gleaming under the harsh sun. Dr. Elena Martinez stood at the heart of it all, surrounded by holographic displays showing the progress of humanity's greatest engineering project. "Integration Test 17, she announced, her voice steady despite her exhaustion. 3 months had passed since the Sentinel's warning, and time was running out. "Initiate quantum consciousness link." The test subject, Major Sarah Connor, lay in the integration chamber, her mind connected to the prototype defense system through a web of quantum circuitry. Unlike previous attempts at merging human consciousness with the ancient technology, this time something was different. The quantum readings stabilized, forming patterns that matched the Sentinel's blueprints perfectly. Neural synchronization holding steady at 87%, reported Dr. Wong from his station. "It's working, Elena. She's actually interfacing with the system." Elena watched in amazement as Major Connor's consciousness merged with the quantum network. The holographic displays erupted with new data as the ancient defense system responded to human control for the first time. But what happened next exceeded all their expectations. "I can see them." Connor's voice echoed through the chamber, filled with awe. "The Sentinel's memories, its knowledge, it's all here. And there's something else. Patterns in quantum space I never knew existed." Colonel David Chen, the military liaison to Project Aurora, stepped forward. "What exactly can you see, Major?" "Everything, sir. I can sense quantum fluctuations across the entire solar system." And Connor paused, her voice turning urgent. "We have company. The advanced scouts. They're already here." The control room erupted into action. Elena's hands flew across her console, bringing up deep space sensor data. There, at the edge of their detection range, were 5 objects moving in ways that defied conventional physics. The Devorer's scouts had arrived ahead of schedule. "Show me what they're doing," Chen ordered. Through her quantum link, Connor projected a real-time visualization of the scout ship's movements. They were probing Earth's defenses, analyzing human technology, preparing for the main swarm's arrival. But they hadn't detected Project Aurora yet. The quantum shielding Elena had developed was working. They're different than what the Sentinel remembered, Connor reported. They've evolved. The swarm's been consuming and adapting to new technologies as it moves through the galaxy. Our original defense plans won't be enough. Elena had feared this possibility. The Sentinel's creators had failed despite their advanced technology because the Devourers could adapt to any weapon used against them. But humans had something the ancient civilization didn't: the ability to think laterally, to change strategies on the fly. Major, Elena called out, try interfacing with the weapon systems. Don't just follow the Sentinel's protocols. Use your intuition. Connor's consciousness reached deeper into the quantum network. The massive arrays around the facility hummed with power as she explored capabilities the Sentinel's creators had never imagined. Human creativity was unlocking potential in the ancient system that had laid dormant for millions of years. The quantum field responds to imagination, Connor said, wonder in her voice. We don't just control the weapons, we can reshape them, combine them in new ways. The system isn't rigid like we thought. It's alive. Chen turned to Elena. How soon can we duplicate this interface? How many pilots can we train? That's the remarkable thing, Elena replied, studying the neural data. The quantum integration is actually accelerating. Each successful link makes the next one easier. It's like the system is learning to adapt to human consciousness. But their breakthrough came with a price. As more pilots successfully linked with the quantum network, they began reporting disturbing visions, echoes of the civilizations the Devourers had already consumed. The ancient defense system wasn't just a weapon. It was a repository of memories from countless extinct species. We're not just fighting for Earth, Connor said during her debriefing. We're fighting for every civilization they've destroyed. Their knowledge, their memories. It's all preserved in the quantum network. We might be the last chance to preserve everything they were. Elena worked tirelessly to refine the integration process, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. The quantum arrays grew more powerful as they learned to adapt to human consciousness. But time was running out. The scout ships were growing bolder, probing closer to Earth's defenses. How many pilots are combat ready? Chen asked during their daily briefing. 57, Elena answered. But we're completing integrations faster every day. The real question is whether it will be enough. The main swarm is vast, and it's still coming. They had rewritten the laws of physics, merged human consciousness with ancient alien technology, and prepared defenses beyond anything humanity had ever created. But as Elena watched the quantum sensors track the scout ship's movements, she couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges still lay ahead. The Devourers were learning, adapting, evolving with each civilization they consumed. Humanity would need more than just advanced technology to survive. They would need to evolve faster than their enemy, to push the boundaries of what was possible with each passing day. As the sun set over Project Aurora, Elena made a final modification to the quantum network. If they were going to survive, they needed to take one more step into the unknown. It was time to fully merge human consciousness with the Sentinel itself. The Sentinel's consciousness unfurled through Project Aurora's quantum network like a blooming flower of light and mathematics. Elena watched through the facility's quantum sensors as humanity's greatest gamble began to take shape. The merge between human consciousness and the ancient AI wasn't just successful, it was transformative. Major Connor stood at the center of the integration chamber, her mind now permanently linked to both the quantum defense system and the Sentinel itself. The swarm is changing course, she announced, her voice carrying harmonics that hadn't been there before. They sense what we've done. They're coming faster now. The hybrid fleet hung in high orbit around Earth. 300 ships built from a fusion of human innovation and alien technology. Each vessel hummed with quantum energy, their hulls shifting like liquid metal as they adapted to their pilots' thoughts. They were beautiful and terrifying. Humanity's evolution made manifest in steel and energy. Fleet integration at 98%, Elena reported, studying the streams of data flowing through her enhanced consciousness. Like everyone else involved in Project Aurora, She now carried a piece of the Sentinel within her mind. The neural network is stable. We're ready for full combat operations. Colonel Chen, his own quantum implants glowing softly, nodded. Begin the defense grid activation. Let's show these scouts what they're really dealing with. The first real test of their integrated defenses came as the scout ships launched a probing attack. They expected to find a primitive civilization barely capable of interplanetary travel. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented, human consciousness-wielding weapons that bent reality itself. Connor, now serving as fleet commander, orchestrated the response. The hybrid ships moved with impossible grace, their quantum weapons tearing holes in space-time around the scout vessels. But the Devourers were not easily defeated. As their ships were destroyed, they adapted, evolving new defenses even as they died. They're transmitting data back to the main swarm, Connor reported. Her consciousness spread across the battlefield. Every engagement teaches them more about us, but they're learning the wrong lessons. Elena understood what she meant. The Devourers were trying to adapt to their technology, but they couldn't comprehend the human element. The quantum weapons were merely tools. Humanity's true advantage lay in their creativity, their ability to imagine new possibilities in the heat of battle. The hybrid fleet demonstrated this advantage as the scouts launched their final desperate attack. Instead of meeting them with pure force, the human pilots improvised. They created quantum fields that turned the scouts' own adaptive abilities against them, trapping them in loops of endless evolution until their ships tore themselves apart. Threat eliminated, Connor announced, but there was no celebration in her voice. The main swarm has altered course again. They're coming in full force now. Arrival estimated in 72 hours. Elena moved through Project Aurora's command center, her enhanced consciousness processing multiple streams of data simultaneously. The integration of human and Sentinel technology had exceeded all expectations, but it had also revealed the true scope of what they faced. "Show me the swarm's current configuration," she requested. A holographic display materialized, showing the approaching armada. Millions of ships, each one carrying the accumulated knowledge and technology of countless consumed civilizations. They moved as a single organism, their combined mass distorting space-time around them. "They've never encountered anything like us," Chen observed, studying the display. Every other civilization they destroyed followed predictable patterns of technological development. "We're the first to merge consciousness with quantum mechanics in this way." But their advantage came with a cost. As the integration deepened, the human pilots began experiencing more than just the Sentinel's memories. They felt the echoes of every civilization the Devourers had consumed, heard the dying thoughts of species that had faced this same threat and failed. "We need to push the integration further," Elena decided, her mind racing with new possibilities. The Sentinel's creators never imagined using their technology this way, but they also never had our perspective. "We need to stop thinking of this as a merger of two separate technologies and start thinking of it as the birth of something entirely new." Connor gathered the fleet commanders, their enhanced minds linking across vast distances. "The swarm operates on pure logic, pure efficiency," she explained. "They expect us to defend Earth directly. So we won't. We'll show them something they've never seen before. We'll show them chaos." The next 48 hours saw Project Aurora's quantum network expand exponentially. Every human connected to the system contributed their unique perspective, their individual creativity combining with the Sentinel's ancient knowledge to forge new weapons, new strategies, new ways of fighting that defied conventional physics. They weren't just preparing for battle anymore. They were evolving, becoming something that existed in the space between organic and artificial, between matter and energy, between reality and imagination. The Devourers had never encountered a species that could change faster than they could. As the main swarm approached the outer edges of the solar system, Elena made her final modifications to the quantum network. The human pilots, their consciousness now inextricably linked with their ships and each other, took up their positions. They had rewritten the laws of physics, merged with an ancient AI, and pushed the boundaries of what consciousness itself could achieve. All ships, prepare for quantum sync. Connor's voice echoed through the network, carrying the combined will of humanity with it. We are no longer just defending Earth. We are defending every civilization that came before us, every species that might come after. We are the line between order and chaos, between consumption and creation. The hybrid fleet hung in space like a web of light and possibility, waiting for the swarm's arrival. They were humanity's children now, born from the marriage of human imagination and alien technology. And they were about to show the Devourers that evolution could take forms they had never dreamed possible. The main swarm arrived like a storm of darkness, millions of ships blotting out the stars. Earth's hybrid fleet faced them in perfect formation, 300 vessels against an armada that had devoured galaxies. But numbers meant nothing in quantum space. Initiate Operation Chaos, Commander Connor ordered through the neural network. The human fleet split apart, each ship becoming a nexus of impossible physics. They didn't fight like a traditional military force. They fought like artists painting with reality itself. The first wave of Devourer ships encountered quantum fields that turned their adaptive abilities into a weapon against themselves. As they evolved to counter one threat, they became vulnerable to others. Human creativity proved more devastating than raw power. Elena monitored the battle from Project Aurora, her enhanced consciousness tracking every engagement. "They're trying to find patterns in our attacks," she reported. But there are no patterns. Each pilot is fighting their own way, using the quantum technology like an instrument in a grand improvisation. The Devourer's warm consciousness struggled to comprehend what it faced. Every civilization it had consumed fought with logic, with predictable strategies based on maximizing efficiency. But humans fought with imagination, with inspiration, with impossible combinations of quantum effects that defied analysis. "They're splitting their forces," Connor announced, her consciousness spread across the battlefield, "trying to isolate and analyze each of our combat styles separately, exactly as we predicted." The trap was sprung. As the swarm divided, the human fleet unleashed weapons born from the marriage of ancient knowledge and human creativity, quantum singularities that evolved faster than the Devourers could adapt, reality bombs that turned space itself into a weapon, fields of probability that made victory mathematically impossible for the enemy. But the swarm was vast, and it learned quickly. For every ship they destroyed, 10 more took its place, each one incorporating new defenses. The battle became a race between human creativity and the swarm's ability to evolve. "We're losing too many pilots," Chen reported as another hybrid ship fell to the enemy's attacks. "The quantum network is destabilizing. We need something more." Elena had anticipated this moment. "Initiate Protocol Omega," she commanded. Full consciousness merger across all surviving pilots. The quantum network hummed with power as the remaining human pilots merged their minds completely, becoming a single consciousness that rivaled the swarm's hive mind. But unlike the Devourer's rigid, logical collective, this human gestalt sparked with creativity and emotion. The battle transformed. The hybrid fleet moved as one being, their quantum weapons weaving together in ways that even Elena hadn't imagined possible. They created architectures of impossible physics, turning the space around the swarm into a maze of evolving quantum effects. "They're trying to retreat," Connor's voice echoed through the gestalt consciousness. "For the first time in their history, they're facing something they can't consume or understand." But victory remained precarious. The swarm's numbers were still overwhelming, and the human gestalt was burning through neural pathways faster than their enhanced biology could handle. They needed one final push, one last act of impossible creativity. Elena made her decision. She interfaced directly with the quantum network, adding her consciousness to the gestalt. Her mind merged with the Sentinel's ancient knowledge, with the memories of dead civilizations, with the combined creativity of every human pilot. In that moment of union, she saw the truth. The Devourers weren't invincible. They were imprisoned by their own perfection. They could evolve endlessly, but only along predetermined paths. Human consciousness, with its chaos and creativity, was something they could never replicate. Now, Elena's voice carried through the Gestalt. Show them what consciousness really means. The hybrid fleet's final attack defied description. They didn't just bend reality. They'd reimagined it. 300 ships became infinite possibilities, each one carrying a piece of humanity's dreams and defiance. The swarm, faced with weapons that evolved faster than thought, that operated on principles that changed moment by moment, finally broke. As the vast armada began to disintegrate, Elena glimpsed the future through her enhanced consciousness. Humanity wouldn't just survive. They would thrive, spreading their unique blend of chaos and creativity across the galaxy. The Devourers had tried to consume them, but instead, they had become the catalyst for humanity's transformation. The battle for Earth was ending, but humanity's journey was just beginning. They had become something new, something that existed between flesh and energy, between thought and reality. They were the children of chaos, the inheritors of ancient knowledge, the defenders of consciousness itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. The quantum network fell silent as the last Devourer ship vanished from existence. In orbit around Earth, the surviving hybrid vessels pulsed with energy, their hulls rippling with the aftereffects of reality-bending combat. But the greatest changes weren't visible to the naked eye. They were in the consciousness of every human connected to the network. Elena watched through enhanced senses as the Gestalt consciousness slowly separated, each pilot returning to individual awareness while retaining echoes of their shared existence. They had won, but victory had transformed them into something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. The swarm is retreating across all known space, Connor reported, her voice carrying harmonics of quantum energy. The few ships that survived are broadcasting warnings to the rest of their kind. They're telling them to avoid Earth at all costs. The Sentinel's ancient knowledge, fully integrated with human consciousness, revealed the true significance of what they'd achieved. They hadn't just defeated the Devourers. They had shown them fear. A species that had consumed civilizations for millions of years had encountered something it couldn't comprehend or adapt to. The quantum network is evolving, Elena observed, studying the streams of data flowing through her enhanced mind. It's not just adapting to us anymore. It's growing, learning, becoming something new. The hybrid fleet returned to Earth, their pilots forever changed by their experience of shared consciousness. They brought with them not just victory, but the accumulated knowledge of countless civilizations, preserved in the quantum network that now spanned the solar system. Chen, his quantum implants pulsing with residual energy, reviewed the final battle data. We didn't just save Earth, he realized. We've changed the fundamental rules of existence. The Devourers represented perfect order, perfect adaptation along predictable paths. We showed the galaxy something different, the power of chaos, creativity, and conscious evolution. The transformation accelerated. The quantum network, designed by the Sentinel's creators as a weapon, had become something far more under human influence. It was a bridge between consciousness and reality, between imagination and physics. Through it, humanity could reshape the very fabric of existence. We are receiving signals, Connor announced one morning. Her consciousness extended through the quantum sensors. Other civilizations, hiding from the Devourers for millennia, have detected our victory. They're reaching out. Earth became a beacon in the darkness, a symbol of defiance against the entropy of perfect order. The hybrid fleet, now growing as more humans underwent the integration process, began to explore the galaxy. They found the remnants of ancient species, preserving their knowledge and culture in the ever-expanding quantum network. Elena, standing in the heart of Project Aurora, watched as humanity took its first steps into a larger universe. The quantum technology had changed them profoundly, but it hadn't erased their essential nature. Instead, it had amplified everything that made them unique: their creativity, their empathy, their ability to imagine new possibilities. We're not just exploring space anymore, she realized. We're reimagining what consciousness itself can be. The Sentinel, its ancient purpose fulfilled, began to fade into the greater quantum network it had helped create. But its final message echoed through the collective consciousness of humanity. You have exceeded all parameters. You have become what we hoped to be. The galaxy is yours to defend, to nurture, to transform. As the sun set on Earth, Elena looked up at the stars with new eyes. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged transformed. They were no longer just a species trapped on a single world. They were the guardians of consciousness itself, the defenders of chaos and creativity in a universe that threatened to descend into perfect, sterile order. The hybrid fleet hung in orbit like a promise, not just of protection, but of possibility. They had taught the galaxy that evolution wasn't just about adaptation. It was about imagination, about dreaming things that had never existed and making them real. The war was over. The age of humanity had begun. And somewhere in the vast darkness between the stars, the remnants of the devourer swarm carried a warning to the farthest reaches of space. Earth was not to be approached. For there dwelled something unique in the universe, a species that had made chaos into an art form, and consciousness into a force that could reshape reality itself. Humanity had not just survived. They had become something new, something wonderful, something feared. They had become the future.